There you are. John Augustine back again. Let's talk. Well, storms. Were you ever caught out in a storm? Uh, were you ever ill prepared for the storm when it comes and you were somewhere and it come all of a sudden and you were saying your prayers because you were caught in the storm and you wondered if you've had enough petrol or diesel in the car to get you home? Blowing a gale of wind, snow, sleet, weather conditions hazardous. Now I don't listen to news or anything like that because otherwise you mightn't leave wherever you were. There was a storm here some years back, a week of snow and drifts and very high. I was caught out and I couldn't get home. I had to stay with friends that was nearby from where I was stuck. And there was cars stuck. As a matter of fact, there was people put up. There was great what would they call it? Help for ones that were stranded and they were able to put it because they couldn't travel. The snow was 6 foot high or more, and it was like for a week like that. And there was no flights or anything out. So storms, but there's other sorts of storms too. The storms that can happen by way of people. You often heard of a stormy relationship. That doesn't seem to be very a nice situation to be caught up in. I mean, peace and harmony is what's badly wanted, isn't it? As you go through life, and the last thing you want is arguments or that kind of thing, or any kind of criticism. If you feel they just don't deserve it. So I think the fundamental thing about this business of storms is to sort of avoid it like the plague and seek accommodation. And not alone that, but let the business of respect be found be the foundation for whatever you're dealing with. I'll give an example. I was in the supermarket yesterday, the Sabbath. It's often a time that I can go and there mightn't be many there. And it suits, I don't like a rush or a this, that, or the other. And what I got, I think, come to 40 odd euros. In dollars, it'd be about $50. And but I forgot one thing. I like to get a jar of honey, and the one I have now is nearly out, and I didn't get that, but I got everything else. And funny enough, you always leave something off. You have to have a list, but I thought I'd remember it, but I didn't. And yet I was thinking about it going up. And then as I was going about, I didn't, yeah. But when I was at the checkout, and the girl, youngish one, wouldn't be that gone on her attitude, to be honest with you, between me and you and the gatepost. Some ones are connect with you and have a courteous way of going on, but this one I didn't, and it's the local supermarket, and quite frankly, leaves a bit to be desired at times. But anyway, um, there was a man with a little child, little girl, and one of the things I noticed, even at Mass on Sunday, parents don't seem to be able to look after their children. They're up to all sorts of stuff instead of trying to train them. They're a nuisance in some ways. And it seems extraordinary that they don't train them to sort of. So that's the work you have to do and correct them and insist. that they're not crawling around the place and they're old enough to be corrected. They're not just babies. Uh, And but Annie was in the supermarket. This man with it, and they were near where this one was attending me, and she wouldn't help now in a fit to do anything that you might. All she asked me was, "Do I need a bag?" Well, I don't need a bag. I need to mount them in the car. Stupid question. It's like a parrot, that type of way. And but this man with his little girl, and you need to guide him. And it wasn't buying that, and he was looking at papers. And then the next little girl was behind where this one was attending to me and interfering. So instead of concentrating on me, she was with the girl. And I said to the man, "Can you not look after your child?" And he says to me, "Mind your own business." I made no response, said that. And because you've got to control him, you can't have him doing that. I mean, first of all, this cashier was more interested in that. The more interested in me and the man in the moon. And I reminded her of it. She didn't have to put anything into, I had to do all that myself. Sometimes some of them are very helpful and they come and put it into they put it into the trolley and that. And but this one would be the quite opposite. And quite frankly, I just said to myself, well, now I mightn't just shop there for a bit because that kind of thing, you want to shop in comfort and be treated with some kind of respect. And generally speaking, where I go, especially I go to a supermarket in Kells, which is an Irish owned one under the franchise. And the staff is very good there, and he's very friendly and all the rest of it. And prove the shop as well. And they have a good selection, better one than the one local. Quite a few things there that I wanted wasn't there. So and then that's how I forgot about the honey, which I get tomorrow somewhere. I have to just go elsewhere tomorrow. Anyway, so there we are. I just thought you might have had those type of experiences yourself. Staff in shops or something that were not as courteous as they should be. And I think training should be mandatory in these places to be able to deal with customers of all sorts, because you get customers of all sorts. You get customers that might they're able to talk, but they're struck dumb. In other words, they don't open their mouth one way or another. Very hard to deal with the like of them. But I don't suffer from that. Oh, but as I say, when I saw this child doing what she shouldn't have been doing, and any parent worth their salt should be training them to keep them, because you can't do things like that. But this is what he said to me. So I just repeat that. You might have had that experience yourself here and there. Or you might say, you had a right to, it's only a child. But look, the parent is responsible for to rear that child so that it's reared properly and knows what's and right from wrong. But if they let do what they like, then how are they going to learn what's right and wrong? I haven't a clue how they can learn it, because we were all trained. When I was young, on a Saturday, there was no preaching mass. We had to polish our shoes before we went to mass on Sunday. We were at to be in a confession on Saturday. When we were young, we were in the afternoon, and usually two or three priests on confession, because it'd be a good crowd. And then the evening, when we got older, confession, and it would be packed. A lot of people now wouldn't remember that and really couldn't believe it, but that's the way it was. And you get the secular crowd talking about the bad old days. It was the good old days, quite the reverse of what they say. But the young nowadays are impressionable and believe all nonsense quicker than they believe the truth. You often hear the story: bad news travels, and truth stays put. When people in Canada, for example, they made out that children were buried in mass graves or something. Some anti-Catholic bigot made that remark, and it turned out to be false. And Catholic churches were burnt, and yet most of those people, the indigenous, were very grateful to the Catholics that looked after them and gave them an education and all the rest of it, and treated them very well. And there was no evidence when they went to check to see this man. There was no such thing. But did the truth come out, and the Pope we went there, Francis Pope, and apologised? Did he sort of regret or apologise for going there and apologising for something that didn't happen? So these are the things that when the truth, when it's investigated and there's no truth in it, but the bad news travels, and they believe it, and it's untrue. So there we are, just to be talking about these things. It said a problem shared is a problem halved. Did you ever hear that expression? Bye now.